Hello, everyone, and welcome back to episode 2 of the Stingray. This is episode 2 of my entire YouTube channel, but also the football series. I'll be releasing a video on basketball, and a bit later we'll be talking about James Harden, all that saga. And if you're interested in that, please go check it out later. But today we're going to be talking about something a little bit more somber, a little bit more sad, but not pessimistic. We're going to remain optimistic. Today we're going to be talking about the Chelsea versus West Ham game. Now, this is a good time to declare that I am indeed a Chelsea fan. Now, if you're watching this and you're not a Chelsea fan, please just save your laughs. We get it. We've heard everything. If you're also a Chelsea fan, then we should band together because this isn't the most straightforward of times. I won't say this is the worst of times, this is the lowest of times, and I'll explain why. But this is a somewhat complicated stage of sort of Chelsea's new era, and we will address that today. We will address that. First things first, Chelsea versus West Ham. Just the general feeling about the game. I'm not disappointed. Obviously, I'm disappointed about the score, but I think the way we played shows good signs that we are improving. So, I won't get on Poch or just the players for not playing well. I think everything that we were supposed to do, we tried to execute. We didn't look clueless, at least the whole game. When we look back at sort of the games under Potter and games under Lampard also, those games we looked completely clueless. So, and you had no expectation of Chelsea ever winning a game. So those were like the lowest of lows. This game against West Ham definitely doesn't fall into that category, but it does sting a little bit more because going into the new season with all these new signings, the new signings is a big topic that we'll get to, but with all these new signings, you'd expect Chelsea to win, and especially against West Ham, who aren't like the big six. Chelsea is capable of defeating. There's a 3-1 result. It's not great. So on paper, it doesn't look good at all, but we're gonna remain optimistic, and we're gonna sort of address everything that happened bit by bit. We'll first sort of tackle the game in its entirety. Chelsea dominated. Let's be honest. Chelsea dominated the whole game. West Ham didn't have much possession. Well, West Ham really were that. They were clinical. They were clinical and they were efficient. They capitalized on every mistake that was made. That's where West Ham really won the game. And Chelsea was still. They're combining well. They were linking up well, but they just weren't as efficient and definitely not as clinical. And that was sort of how the first goal was conceded, with West Ham being efficient. James Ward-Prowse gets a corner. You don't want to give this guy a set piece. Whips it across, back post, free header, no unmarked. And what sucked about that goal was that literally like a play before that, it was the exact same scenario where James Ward-Prowse hits it back post, and it was pretty much a free header, but Robert Sanchez got a hand on it before Bowen could tap it in. Both players, the guy who headed the ball and Bowen who made the kick, they were both wide open. So at that point when I was watching, I was like, okay, close call, let's not do that again. We give up a corner and then boom, header, back post, easy as you like it, like clear as day. No one was marking it. So then at that point you're thinking like, okay, like is this gonna be the old Chelsea? It just feels like at this point, even with the Liverpool game, obviously Chelsea conceded first, so you would think that the team needs some time to sort of settle into the game. So then you're like, okay, it sucks that you conceded, but it's not over yet. You still have a lot of time left, but usually the Chelsea in the past, after they concede, it all goes to crap afterwards. Like everyone is just lethargic and like there's no confidence. But this time, even after Chelsea conceded, everyone was still like on their feet, moving lightly, efficient. The link-ups were nice. Raheem Sterling, oh my God, this guy, like he suddenly transformed. He heard all the criticism. He was aggressive. He was driving into the gaps, taking on players, setting up chances. That's what we want from Raheem Sterling, right? Like you would expect that. So he was creating chances. So he was sort of the catalyst of Chelsea's continued confidence. So at that point, I wasn't too worried. I knew that a goal was here somewhere, and we were creating chances, missing. But like Nick Jackson had a goal, like had an opportunity to score, and he missed the tap and he just completely missed the ball. And I'll get on Jackson. I'll get to Jackson later, but won't criticize him. But there are some things that sort of concern me. But Raheem Sterling was sort of carrying the team in that aspect, and then literally like he drove past. He drove past, I think Emerson it was on the far side, on the far right, whips it in, the cross gets headed out, lands to Carney. Carney tries something with Chilwell with the 1-2. Chilwell whips it in, gets deflected out, and Carney gets it. And what wonderful skill from Carney. Little in and out, and whips it across goal. Beautiful. As pure as you like. Congrats to Carney on his first goal. I had to really imagine that goal, so like I don't have it in the back of my head, but it was so vivid, and it was a beautiful strike. Unfortunately, he goes down with an injury, so then you're like, oh no, like this isn't great, and that's when things sort of turned south for Chelsea. It was Carney's injury and also Enzo missing the penalty. Now on Enzo, let's not get on him for missing a penalty. He's never taken a penalty for Chelsea in his entire life. So it's like, okay, we need to have a designated penalty taker, and I don't think it's Enzo. I think it should be Jackson. If Nkunku was on the pitch, we'd give it to Nkunku. But I think Jackson would probably be our most lethal penalty taker, and should have been gone to him. But Enzo being the best player on the team, it made sense. A miss, and that shot his confidence down. It was way down. And at that point, Chelsea just looked lethargic. Coming out of halftime, Carney was hurt, and Enzo wasn't playing well, and you end up you're seeing a Chelsea team that is sort of desperate in the sense that creativity is limited. Once the team starts to panic and once they lose their confidence, they start to go back to their old ways of passing out wide and just crossing it in. That at that point it becomes predictable. West Ham at that point, they were already parking the bus. You can see Mikel Antonio, he's literally like standing right in front of the box. It's so hard to sort of get any real chances in. You can't whip across in because everyone's in the box. So you have to be creative to shift the defense, attack the gaps created from the defensive shifts. And that's how you really get your goals, get your chances. But Chelsea being lethargic, having a confidence shot, like you could see that all their attack was becoming predictable. And Sterling sort of came out halftime looking slow, like he wasn't as aggressive, he wasn't as quick and creative, like I said. So that didn't help anybody. But in the moments where you could see Sterling sort of have that burst of speed, attack the gaps, take people one-on-one, then the chances were created. Especially that one time where Sterling did a very nice sort of feint and he drove right. Nice cross. Mudryk was wide open, misses, just completely skies it. And you're just thinking like, okay, Sterling is doing his job, but you're not capitalizing. And that sort of was the whole back and forth this whole game. Like Chelsea still dominated possession, and there was no real chance created except for some good one-on-ones by Mudryk and Madueke and Sterling whipping it in, but no real chance except for that Mudryk chance where he should have buried, to be honest. But that's my thing about Mudryk. Mudryk, like I love him, like he should start. I think he needs game time, but he's still so raw. Like his one-on-ones are great, and you see him creating space, but he's always sort of out of control, so his crosses don't end up going to anybody. Let's not compare him to Hazard, but we'll use Hazard as a reference. Hazard was great one-on-one, great skill, would create chances, but he always seemed so poised, at least when he was in the Chelsea shirt. Mudryk, he would beat the defender and then just cross it in. Even though because he creates so much space, he has time to really pick out the guy in the middle, like maybe do like a fake cross, drive it back into the box, make a shot for himself, lay it off. Like there's so many options that Mudryk could take if he was just more patient. And that's something that he needs to develop over time. He's still young, so we won't get on that. But that's sort of the thing that he's missing. Like Mudryk needs to learn how to be more patient and play more under control. Use that burst of speed in the right time, and no one can guard him. No one can stop him. So, and because you have all the Chelsea still dominated possession. You have a lot of these semi chances, like no real shot. You contrast that with West Ham being as efficient as possible. 4 shots. 4 shots and 3 on target. I think that was a stat. But the way they scored their second goal, West Ham, was a nice over the top from Ward. Like one mistake by Disasi, missed pass. James Ward-Prowse the ball over the top. Mikel Antonio, great control, shrugs off Levi Colwill, and doesn't even need to take Disasi on. Just steps right in front and just takes it right across goal. You would think Sanchez should have done better, but the power on that shot was crazy, and like unlucky for Disasi. You can't really think that he could have done anything more. Maybe close up, but then Mikel Antonio would have beat him. So like it's just sort of those goals that you're just like, is there anything we could have done better? Like, not really. And so it's unfortunate. That's all you can say. It's real unfortunate. Poch, but we'll get into individual critiques of the player, of players in a bit. But Poch said after the game that these were just one of the games where the better team should have won but didn't. And I think I agree with that. Chelsea was definitely the better team, but in the sense that they were dominating possession, there were a lot of link-ups, there were good chances. But I mean, that you can't really say they were the better team if they're not clinical and they're missing chances, they're giving the ball away. That you have to deduct points from the overall performance if you make mistakes like that. So it's not really the better team. You could say like, we had so many more chances and we should have scored them. That's why we should have won, maybe. But I agree with Poch's sentiment, but I don't really agree with. There's no real logic there, because if we were really the better team, we would have buried those chances, and like Sterling would have been aggressive the whole game. Mudryk would have buried that half volley, and Jackson, we'll get into the individual players now, but I want to start off with Nicholas Jackson, because this guy is almost complete. He's almost complete, and we saw glimpses of his completeness in preseason when he was like Drogba-esque, and he was like burying chances, making the runs. He was fast, he was strong. Like, that's all you want from your number 9 or number 15, like your striker. But in the first 2 games against Liverpool, he's still as strong and fast as you like, but he's not clinical, right? He's not burying those chances that you'd want him to bury. Like that, there was a header that he was over everybody. He should have just got that more and headed in, but like you didn't, and it was a tough header, sure. But there was also one where Raheem cut in, passed it to him. It was right there. He should have just slotted it bottom corner, but he missed the ball. And missing balls completely is Timo Werner stuff, like not Nicholas Jackson stuff, or it shouldn't be. So it's unfortunate, and he needs to be more clinical if he wants to be the sole number 9. Chelsea is currently looking for new striker options, and I get it, but it's not even about like Todd Bowley buying more players isn't going to solve the problem. You need chemistry, you need like practice, players need confidence. Like, you can't just buy, you can't have Nicholas Jackson sort of miss his first few chances and then just like, okay, we need to buy like the best striker in the world. You put Erling Haaland, yeah, he might score a little bit more, but he's not going to get as many chances, and he's not going to be in the right position. So there needs to be a culture and a cohesiveness within the team that takes time, and that sort of factors into why it's sad that the result is the result, but let's not get pessimistic just yet. Like, all the other fans are like, oh, banter Chelsea, like 100, like your 2 midfielders cost 300 million and one misses a penalty, one gives away a penalty. I get it, yeah, but like, let's not be rash at this point. Let's wait a little bit more. And I mean, Enzo, other than missing a penalty, he was still class the whole game. He was facilitating the offense. This guy had to drop deep to get the ball because West Ham was parking the bus. So if West Ham wasn't so efficient and clinical, and Chelsea were a bit more efficient and clinical, then Enzo would have an easier time. And certainly missing that penalty didn't help his confidence at all. So in that sense, tough for Enzo, but I wouldn't get on him. He still played a great. I thought he played a great game. He was creating chances. He was doing a lot of the work. Caicedo. Let's talk about the elephant in the room. Caicedo comes in at like the 60th minute, like 30 minutes of ball game. Like that's good. We would have expected him to start, maybe get his feet going and let him shed off the rust quicker. But sort of his performance justified why Poch would start him on the bench. So because you want to give him time to really acclimate with the team and get used to the culture and the chemistry. But he comes in on the 60th minute and he sort of looked slow to me. He looked a bit lost, I will say. Like he didn't really set a foot wrong at that point until the penalty, but he actually take that back. He sort of made some errors in his like easy passes, but you could just tell that he was trying to do the right thing, but he was just a bit slow and a bit lost. So I think Caicedo, he definitely needs time to settle in, and him giving away the penalty, it's sort of an instinctive decision. He's normally like 9 times out of 10, if he were more acclimated with the team, if he was sort of better adjusted, he makes that tackle. It's right there. Like you would think like, oh, Caicedo, you shouldn't have lunged in. Like he makes that tackle more times than not. Like that's why we bought him. So at that point, you can't really get on him, and it's unfortunate. So the score might have been 3-1 West Ham, but honestly, it should have been at least 2-2. That's what I thought. Because Mikel Antonio, great goal, but the penalty shouldn't have been given if Caicedo had done better, and Enzo should have scored that one. So at this point, it's tough to think that there's a potential and there's a possibility that this is just last season extended. But I have the confidence that it's not, because you can see that Chelsea, when they're not missing penalties and conceding penalties, there's a confidence there, and there's individual skill. They just need time. That's all I'm gonna say at this point. They just need time. And once, I think like Madueke was a great addition, welcome back from injury. So I think if you start to actually get the pieces together, Sterling continues to play well. You start Caicedo and you play Lavia next game against Luton. I swear, if we lose to Luton, then we actually have to worry, because it just seems like there's just bad luck on bad luck. It's not like Chelsea is a bad team. It's just that there's so many times where Chelsea should have scored and then they get hit with like Luton playing the best football of their lives. So it just seems like that's sort of the unfortunate circumstance that Chelsea has been put in. But again, no excuses. Chelsea has to bounce back the next game, or else it's starting to get worrying. And yeah, so, and just to sort of conclude the general sentiment towards the game, I think Carney going down and Nkunku being out means that Chelsea sort of need a number 10 role, and they're looking for sort of an attacking midfielder who can play on the wing. Olise would have been a great option, but he signed at Crystal Palace. I don't know if an attacking midfielder is essential, because although Carney did score the goal, you need someone of that characteristic, someone who's quick on their feet and can create chances for your strikers and your wingers. I think Enzo could play that role, and wasn't Enzo sort of meant to play the number 10 role? You play a 4-3-3. Okay, 3 at the back it's not working. Why are we doing 3 at the back? The lineup should have been 4-3-3, just like preseason, or 4-2-3, or 4-2-3-1, whatever you want. But it should be Caicedo and Lavia as your DMs or your double pivot, and then Enzo playing the 10, or he's playing the sole central midfield. You give him the liberty to roam around, and you have your insurance at the back in Caicedo and Lavia, and then at that point, Enzo has the freedom to operate, and you don't really need a number 10 just yet until Nkunku and Carney come back. Carney, he might not come back anytime soon, so it's tough in that sense. But you start Jackson, Sterling, you sort of have to play him next game because he did well, and so I wouldn't be mad if it's Sterling and Mudryk, either one, you probably would start Sterling. Madueke on the right. Play him this game. He's healthy. He looked great. Looked fast. It's just another. Sterling was sort of replacing him on the right because he was hurt. But now that he's hurt, you start him. I love Madueke. He's a brilliant player. And then, yeah, in 4-3-3. And then you have Gusto and Chilwell, Cole and Silva. Disasi, he's made a couple mistakes. I think you might have to sit him to accommodate for your central three. So let's see how Chelsea perform after Luton. I'm expecting to see Lavia play too. There needs to be confidence and their chemistry. Once you get the juices flowing, Chelsea are unstoppable. So I'm not worried just yet. So it's sad that Chelsea got. Let's just say how it is. They got battered. They got bossed because West Ham didn't need so many chances and they just capitalized. So Luton Town have to get that win, get that winning streak going, and then hopefully this will be a big turnaround for Chelsea. And then all those memes about our midfield costing 300 million but still losing to West Ham can cease to exist. But yeah, I mean, like, come on. At this point, like, you got the player. You know what he's capable of, like Caicedo I'm referring to. You just gotta trust it. And I trust it. So in that sense, I'm excited for the next game. Let's hope that my excitement doesn't end in vain. Speaking on behalf of a lot of Chelsea fans. And then, yeah, hopefully this will be the turnaround for the season. Let me know what you guys think about Chelsea West Ham. Let me know what you guys think about Caicedo's debut. It's shaky, but, you know, reason to worry, or it's just his first game. Like, let me know what you guys think and whether or not Chelsea will bounce back against Luton. Will bounce back against Luton Town and start off a win streak. All right, guys. Catch the basketball episode that will be coming soon, and then look out for the next football episode too. We'll be talking about Chelsea and potential transfers. But yeah, stay tuned, and I'll see you guys soon.